Okay, this video is for people making the magazine layout page. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you when I say that if I was doing a magazine layout, I would probably find a different theme that is geared towards magazine layouts. There are a lot of good themes out there, and most of them are paid, and those would probably be slightly easier to come up with a really slick magazine layout. I mean, if you look up, there's a theme called Color Mag. There's all kinds of ones that are really good for these grid layout themes. However, in this class, I kind of just want to show you how to use Elementor and start planning it. And so, you know, it is what it is. So I don't expect like it to be as high as the you would have doing another one, right? So obviously we have to go into our home page. Now, just notice in the right hand, there is this sidebar here. You may want it to, in this case, use, I don't know that you would though, because you'd probably want to do everything in Elementor here. So I'm going to jump into Elementor, and I'm going to show you really a few of these things, the elements that are helpful for you here. So what you really want to do is look for ones that are called, that have post in the name, right? So this is, that's pro, so we can't use that one. So that's the default one. That's exactly why I think I added those plugins, right? So that we could have ones that have posts. So let's keep going down here until we find posts. Here we go, post grid and post timeline. These are part of the essential add-ons, right? So let's use these first. I know there's the ones from Otter too. Now you could just drag this post grid into this context here, right? And that will give you, right, it'll just give you one setup here, right? Columns. But I'm going to actually think, you know, that's fine. You could do that. I'm going to go ahead and show you another trick though. We could first, whoops, let me get rid of that, add a structure. So let's say I'm going to do this half and half. I'm going to grab this half and half. Now that gives me two separate places where I can put in, right, man, it goes all the way to the top. The post grid, right? So I could put one post grid right here, and I could put another post grid right here or something else, right? So let's just focus though on this one. Let's say I want one big image, one post here. Well, let's look at what our capabilities of this is. First of all, notice this is what's called a card layout. These things are kind of in this card setup. We'll see another one I'll do that has you can do a left right. So where are the sources? We want the source. This is where we can now change our categories, because remember, you're going to want to put have these 4 sections, and so you need to have them set up. You might have featured, you might have categories. So for this one, I'm just going to use a category. So I'm just going to say I only want sandpiper ones, right? Now, I only want 1. So this post per page, I'm going to go ahead and bring down to 1. And there we are. I have this. Now you notice, we'll fix that in a second. You see there's this offset if you wanted to start with not the most recent, and we'll do that over here. Order by date is fine. Now, if you're going to use featured, you can use tags in Facebook. When you make the post, there's these tags, and if you type the word featured, that's how you would make sure that it gets featured. But I don't have that right now. I'll go down to layout settings, right? And obviously right now with my columns, I only want 1 column. There we go. So now we have our one article here. Sometimes it's a little futzy. It doesn't update. It should update to be the size and everything. It's okay. I don't... You know, grid and masonry, I'm just trying to trigger it to redraw. Yeah, I mean, just visually do things. Now, you can control what's in here. So say I don't want this giant, the who and everything there. That's called the meta, so all I have to do is turn that off, right? And so, again, you see you could probably go in and change whatever it is you want to change. The image size. See, this image is blurry, so let's bring in kind of a higher quality image. Again, you can show or not show the excerpt. You'll probably want to show the excerpt. The read more button. I mean, do you want the read more button? You can just turn it off, because people will be able to click on any of these things. But if you want it, you can. Again, you see how you have ultimate control of everything here. You just have to play with what you want in here. I think, so now this is not going to be a color that's there. So you're going to want, don't worry about that links one. You're going to want the style here. and you'll find color, typography, and spacing, because again, we set disable, but it doesn't get everything, right? So you may have to go in and find where your little read more button is. Here we go, read more button style, right? And so you may have to change it to whatever your accent color is, right? If your accent color is like in these colors, right? Go ahead and change that. You probably made some decisions on the typography there. So that's that. Now the pain is that you actually have to do that every single time then that you use this element. Whatever, it is what it is, right? We're using free versions. We do what we do. So now let me go in and make this like try to put like 4 across here. And so how do I do that? Well, I'll grab another. I'll use the same one, the post grid, right? So I'm going to grab this post grid and bring that out there. And so by default it comes as 4, and we do want 4, right? Except for we want 4 posts in 2 columns. So I keep it at 4 posts per page. I make sure that category is set to sandpipers because this is a sandpiper category section. And in layout sections, I want our columns to be 2. Now this is a problem of the redraw, so I'm just going to go ahead and change that. It really doesn't matter. Again, so now we've got this dead space here. It's kind of a bummer. Maybe the answer is to get 2 in there. Again, we're kind of limited, but say again I want to get rid of that meta, the thing, just to make it a little smaller. Maybe for these small ones to try to get the size bigger, I can add some excerpt length to this, and I can detract some excerpt length from this. You see I have to still go in and change the read more, right? So we're a little limited on making it a really nice grid the way like some other themes would do, but you see, just do your best to try to make the things. Now one other thing we should have before this is it's the title of the section, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit this plus button and add one up here, go to my elements, grab myself a heading, throw it in here, and say this is latest sandpiper articles, right? So that marks this section. Now I think it would be nice to put some color behind this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do this style. Now I don't have colors picked. I'm just going to randomly pick something. Let's make it a little bluish. There we go. I'm going to copy that color because I'm going to need that again, because right, I should probably put this also as part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Style, color, make sure that's there, right? So that's good. And maybe I want that text to be a different color, right? So I'll go in here, style, text color. Let's just make that white so it bounces off, right? It reverses out, right? So now I have a section. Is it perfect? No. Could we get a better grid type thing with like a different theme? Absolutely, right? But just again, I'm just kind of asking you to do your best, think more about the content than the layout, although layout is super important. So over here, right, I'm going to want to put another section in. So I'll show you another thing besides PostGrid that you can use. So over in the Otter downloads, there is this PostGrid type. And so you might like this one even better. These are cards that are always one on top of another. This one has a little more control. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that in as one, right? And so now you see I've got this, it's basically like this, except for instead of a card, it's completely open. And so that looks really nice, right? And so again, we can control what category am I grabbing. So let me get gulls, right? So now I just have these 5 gulls, and obviously if I had 6, it would show 6. We can control how many items, right? If I only want 4, 3. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 3, so I just have one row here. Order by date. So this one oddly doesn't have that offset, so you can't really do what we did over here, which was do this. Oh, I forgot to show this. So notice that this one has the golden plovers on both sides. Before I go on that one, before I forget, what we want to actually do then is use the offset query, and so we'll offset that by 1, right? And so you see now we don't have that first one doubled up here. We start at 1 past because it's the same category. Okay, should have done that in the lesson. So let me go back to this one. Sorry, and you see all the styles that we have. How do we get it to the left. So if we change it from grid, we can change it to list, and that list gives us this way, right? So the things left and right. So that gives us some control there. And so we might want to, maybe I'm going to take that down to just 2, right? And columns obviously down to 2. And so this gives us this list. Whoops, I got the columns down to 1. How did I do that? 2. So there we go. We have that. The image comes out a little janky, right? You're going to have to fix, maybe just go ahead and do something like that. Again, we're a little limited. You don't have the same kind of control if we bought something perfect for this. I mean, you can really wrangle this a lot if you wanted to. You can get really good at this. People build whole pages with this. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting us just to learn the basics and to start thinking about this stuff, right? So again, I would go ahead and grab a header, right, and say, latest goal articles, right? And so I've set a section. So again, all these we can turn off the meta, right? So if we want to go to meta, I want to hide it, right? We can take off the date and the author, but maybe you want to keep that, maybe. Again, it all depends on the layouts we have. I know you're limited by the layouts of what we have. This one's actually a little better because I could show it and say I don't want the author because it's always going to be me. I can just go ahead and get rid of the author. If I wanted to change it and add like the category or something, right? You could do that. If you don't want the icons, you can turn them off, right? So it's about exploring everything that you have here. Yeah, that's all it is. So I think you can create a nice enough semi-magazine layout. Will it be perfect? Absolutely not. If you want to make it perfect, you're going to need to pay for a really high-end theme. And when I say high-end, I mean you could buy it for $50 to $80 and have a really great theme that will really help you do this up. There's even some semi-free ones, like they have free versions, like I mentioned Color Mag, which I actually have installed in the in your let me show you this. So let me go ahead and make sure I update this page real quick. If you wanted to go rogue, and I'm always willing to let students go rogue if you want to do more, is just know that some of the stuff I have won't apply because it's different themes. I actually went ahead in the themes and put in this one I keep referring to, Color Mag. So you see this one, so I'm going to go to live preview on this one, see what it does. And you'll see, it doesn't look good there. You'd have to go and futz with that one, but let me go back to this. You'll see that, look at the way you could lay out things with this. It has these sections. Some of them you may not, again, because it's not the pro version. The pro version you have to pay for. I think it's like $89 or something, or $59. But you could maybe, with the free version, wrangle something a little different if you wanted to learn it. This is your class. This is about what you learn. So feel free that if you wanted to do that, just know that I'm only teaching Elementor. You want to go rogue, you're absolutely encouraged to. But you kind of have to explore it and learn it on your own, or I can try to help you as much as I can. So that's for magazine layout.